Millionaire sees husband reported missing sleeping in the square, holding a photo of her. Jennifer Parker stopped breathing when she saw that man lying on the bench in Liberty Square in Philadelphia. Her legs trembled and the leather briefcase fell from her hands, scattering documents on the ground. It was Robert, her husband, missing for exactly 2 years and 3 months. He slept like a wanderer, in dirty, torn clothes, with an unkempt, graying beard. But what shocked her most was seeing him clutching a yellowed photo to his chest, a photo of her in her wedding dress. "My God! Robert," she whispered, approaching slowly. The man opened his eyes, startled. He looked at her with confusion, as if she were a complete stranger. Jennifer felt her heart shatter. "Robert, it's me, Jennifer, your wife." He shrank back on the bench, gripping the photo even tighter. No, you're not her. "She's coming to get me, she promised," he murmured hoarsely. "Robert, I am her, look at me." When Jennifer tried to touch his face, he jerked away and ran across the square, stumbling and glancing back in fear. The photo fell to the ground. Jennifer picked it up with trembling hands. It was indeed her on the happiest day of their lives 15 years ago. How had he kept this photo all this time, and why didn't he recognize her? For the past 2 years, she had hired private detectives, offered rewards, searched hospitals and morgues. Robert's family had always blamed her for his disappearance. They said she had humiliated him with her work obsession, that he had left after an argument about her never having time for him. But finding him there in that state shattered every theory she'd ever imagined. The next day, Jennifer returned to the square early. She needed to understand what had happened. She found Robert sitting on the same bench, talking to himself. "She's coming today, I know she is," he said to the photo. "Jennifer would never abandon me. She loves me." Her heart clenched. She approached slowly. "Excuse me," a voice said behind her. Jennifer turned and saw an older man in a green uniform holding a broom. "Are you related to him?" the caretaker asked. I'm his wife." The man looked at her in surprise. "Oh, the famous Jennifer. He talks about you all day. Says you're coming for him. How long has he been here?" "About 8 months, showed up confused, no ID, just kept repeating your name. We tried to help, but he refuses to leave this bench. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out." Now, continuing. Jennifer spent the rest of the morning watching Robert from a distance. He talked to himself, showed the photo to birds, saved pieces of bread as if for 2 people. His behavior left her increasingly distraught. When she tried approaching again, he reacted the same way, fear and flight. "Please don't run," she begged. "I want to help." "You're not her," Robert repeated, eyeing her warily. "Jennifer is different. She smiles at me. She makes me feel important." Those words cut like a knife. Jennifer realized that for years she had become a different person. Work-obsessed, always serious, always busy. When was the last time she had genuinely smiled at Robert? That afternoon she sought out Dr. Sarah Johnson, a renowned neuropsychiatrist. "From what you've described, it sounds like dissociative amnesia," the doctor explained. "It's caused by severe emotional trauma. The mind erases painful memories as a defense mechanism. But he remembers me. He has a photo of me. He remembers an idealized version of you. Selective memory preserved only the happy moments, erasing what caused the trauma. What trauma could have been so strong? Only he can tell us that. But forcing memories could be dangerous. Patience is needed." Jennifer left the office with more questions than answers. What had happened to bring Richard to that state? In the following days, she began her own investigation. She returned to the apartment they had shared, which was exactly as Richard had left it. His clothes were still in the closet, his toothbrush in the bathroom. While going through his papers, she found something strange. Bank statements in Richard's name that she had never seen before. Loans, financing, maxed out credit cards. How was this possible? She managed all the family finances. Jennifer called the bank. "Yes, Mrs. Parker. Your husband opened these accounts 3 years ago. He provided proof of income and sufficient collateral." "What collateral?" His share in your family business. Jennifer was shocked. Had Richard used his stake in the company as collateral without her knowing? Why? That's when she decided to confront her mother-in-law, Mrs. Patricia. The 72-year-old woman had distanced herself from the family after Richard's disappearance, blaming Jennifer for everything. Mrs. Patricia, I need to talk to you. What do you want now, Jennifer? Haven't you done enough harm to my son? I found Richard. The elderly woman's face paled. What do you mean you found him? Where is he? At the square. But he doesn't recognize me. And I found out he took out secret loans. Do you know anything about this? Mrs. Patricia collapsed into a chair, covering her face with her hands. I knew this day would come, she murmured. Knew what? Jennifer, sit down. I have to tell you something I should have told you long ago. The older woman went to a drawer and pulled out a folder full of papers. Your father was in serious financial trouble. The business was going bankrupt. Richard found out and sold everything he had to save it, including his wedding ring. Jennifer felt the world spin around her. What do you mean? My father never told me anything. Richard asked me not to say anything. He didn't want you to worry. He said he could handle it alone. But why would he do that? Because he loved you, and because your father convinced him it was a test. Proof that he was worthy of you. Jennifer's hands trembled as she flipped through the documents. Sale receipts, payment records, bank transfers. Richard had literally given everything he had. There's more, Jennifer. Your father was being sued by employees who hadn't been paid for months. Richard took on the labor debts to protect the family name. How much? $2 million. Jennifer's legs nearly gave out. $2 million. Richard had gone into debt for $2 million to save her father's business. And where was my father while this was happening? Traveling through Europe with his new girlfriend, said he needed time to think. The anger that overwhelmed Jennifer was crushing. Her own father had abandoned the failing business and left Richard to shoulder all the responsibility. There's more, Mrs. Patricia continued. Richard had a nervous breakdown the day he found out that, even after all his sacrifice, the business was still doomed. He was hospitalized but ran away. Why didn't you ever tell me this? Because you were so focused on work that you barely noticed when Richard was home. He told me you didn't even realize when he sold the watch he inherited from his father. Jennifer vaguely remembered Richard mentioning something about the watch, but she had been on the phone handling work matters. She had just nodded without really listening. Where is my father now? He came back from Europe when Richard disappeared, pretended to be worried, but I know he was just relieved to be rid of a problem. That night, Jennifer couldn't sleep. She spent hours going over the last years of her marriage. Robert had tried to talk to her several times, but she was always too busy. He suggested romantic dinners, trips, even walks in the park. She always said later, when things calmed down at work, but things never calmed down. There was always another meeting, another project, another goal to reach. The next morning, she went straight to her father's office. She found him as always, smiling and well-dressed, as if nothing had happened. Jennifer, so good to see you. How's business? Dad, I found Robert. His smile vanished. What do you mean you found him? Where? On the street, living like a beggar. And I found out what you did. Richard Parker, her father, loosened his tie. Jennifer, you don't understand. It was a complicated situation. You let my husband ruin himself to save your company. It wasn't like that. I just tested his character. I wanted to see if he really loved you. Tested? By letting him sell everything he had. I never imagined it would go that far. I thought he'd give up. He even sold his wedding ring, Dad. He went into debt for millions to save your company. And he did. The company is thriving today. Jennifer looked at the man who had raised her and felt disgust. At the cost of my husband's sanity. Jennifer, be rational. Robert wasn't from your social class. He needed to prove he deserved you. He did prove it. And you destroyed him in the process. Jennifer stormed out, slamming the door. She needed more answers. She went back to the company files and looked for the accountant, Mr. Wilson, a man who had worked there for over 20 years. Jennifer, good to see you. How can I help? Mr. Wilson, I need to know exactly what happened to Robert in the last months before he disappeared. The accountant sighed. That's something that still haunts me. Tell me everything. Robert came here every day, even after finding out the company was still in trouble. He reviewed the accounts, looked for solutions, called creditors trying to negotiate deadlines. And my father. Your father. Well, he said he was letting Robert prove himself, but in practice he abandoned him. How did Robert react when he found out that even with all his sacrifice, the company was still struggling? He broke down right here in this room, cried like a child, kept saying he'd failed you, that he didn't deserve to be your husband. But he saved the company. Temporarily. Robert found out that besides the debts he knew about, there were others. Back taxes, labor lawsuits, unpaid suppliers. He realized it would take a lot more money. And then, he asked me how much it would really take to save everything. When I said at least 5 million more, he had a breakdown. Jennifer felt a weight in her chest. Robert left here saying he was going to talk to you, to tell you everything. It was the first time in months I'd seen him with hope. But he never spoke to me. I know. The next day, he showed up here, distraught. Said you were too busy to listen, that you'd hung up on him 3 times. Jennifer remembered that day. Robert had called several times, but she was in an important video conference with international investors. She'd said they'd talk at home, but she got back late and he was already asleep. That was the last day I saw him, Mr. Wilson continued. He left a letter on my desk. What letter? The accountant opened a drawer and took out an envelope. I kept it all this time, hoping he'd come back. Jennifer opened the letter with trembling hands. Wilson, thank you for everything. I couldn't be the husband Jennifer deserves. She worked so hard to build something great, and all I did was destroy. Maybe she'll be happier without a failure like me standing in the way of her dreams. Take care of her for me. Richard. Tears streamed down Jennifer's face. Richard had disappeared, thinking she'd be happier without him. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us so much as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. That afternoon, Jennifer returned to Liberty Square determined to try a different approach. Instead of trying to convince Richard of who she was, she decided to simply observe and understand. She sat on a nearby bench and pretended to read a book. Richard was in the same spot, talking to the photo. She'll come today, I can feel it, he said. Jennifer always keeps her promises. Remember when she promised we'd take that beach trip? She kept that. And when she said she'd love me forever, she kept that too. Jennifer's heart clenched. She'd completely forgotten about that beach trip. It was right after they got married, when they still had time for each other. Sir, may I ask you something? A woman's voice said. Jennifer looked up to see a young street vendor approaching Richard. Of course, dear. That woman in the photo is very beautiful. Is she your wife? Yes, her name is Jennifer. She's a businesswoman, you know. Very smart. She'll be rich one day. And why are you here? I'm waiting for her. She said she'd come get me, but she hasn't arrived yet. But I know she hasn't forgotten me. The vendor glanced at Jennifer, who was clearly listening. Have you been waiting long? I'm not sure, but it's worth waiting for someone you love, isn't it? Jennifer had to leave before she broke down crying in front of everyone. Over the next few days, she dug deeper into Richard's final moments before his disappearance. She learned he'd gone to the public hospital after his nervous breakdown. Dr. Michael Roberts, who had treated him, agreed to speak with her. Your husband arrived here in severe anxiety and depression. He was rambling, repeating that he'd failed, that he didn't deserve his wife's love. How did he leave? He escaped overnight. We had a nurse on duty, but he slipped out unnoticed. We tried contacting his family, but the numbers he gave didn't work. What numbers? His father-in-law's business number and a cell phone that didn't exist. Jennifer realized Richard had deliberately given wrong numbers. He hadn't wanted her to find him. Doctor, what was his mental state when he left? Confused, disoriented, there were moments he might not have even remembered his own name. This explained why Richard didn't recognize her. The trauma had been so severe his mind had erased everything tied to pain. Jennifer decided she needed a new strategy. Instead of forcing Richard to remember her, she'd start from scratch, as if they were meeting for the first time. The next day she returned to Liberty Square wearing simple clothes and carrying a thermos of coffee. Excuse me, she said gently. I noticed you're always here. Thought you might like some hot coffee. Richard eyed her warily, but the scent drew him in. "Thank you," he murmured, accepting the cup. "My name is Jennifer," she said, sitting beside him. He nearly dropped the coffee. "Jennifer? Like my wife?" "It's a common name. Tell me about your wife." For the first time since she'd found him, Richard smiled. "She's the most wonderful woman in the world. Smart, determined, beautiful." "Look here," he said, showing the photo. "Wow, she really is beautiful. Are you happy together?" "Very. She works hard, but it's for our future. I'm proud of her." "Then why are you here?" Richard's smile faded. "I don't quite remember. I think I got lost. But she'll come for me. I'm sure of it." Jennifer started visiting Robert every day, always bringing coffee and food. Slowly, he began to trust her. He told stories about his life with Jennifer, always speaking with so much love that she could barely hold back her tears. It was during one of these conversations that he revealed something important. "You know, Jennifer, can I call you Jennifer?" "Of course. Sometimes I have strange dreams. I dream that my wife is sad, that she doesn't smile at me, but that can't be true because she was always happy with me." "Why do you think she'd be sad?" "In the dreams I made some terrible mistake, but I can't remember what. I think they're just nightmares." Jennifer realized that his real memories were trying to surface through the dreams. She had to be careful not to force the process. After 2 weeks of daily visits, Robert already considered her a friend. That's when Jennifer decided to take the next step. "Robert, I have a question. Why are you so sure your wife will come for you?" "Because she loves me, and people who love each other don't abandon one another." "But what if she doesn't know where you are?" Robert grew thoughtful. "Impossible. Jennifer is very smart. She'd find me anywhere." "And what if something is stopping her from coming?" "Like what?" "Work, maybe? You said she works a lot." Robert's face twisted, as if fighting a painful memory. "No, she always makes time for me. Always." But his voice no longer sounded so sure. That night, Jennifer searched for more information about the time before Robert's disappearance. She spoke to the building's doorman, where they had lived. "Oh, Mrs. Jennifer, how I've missed you. How is Mr. Robert?" "Actually, that's what I wanted to talk about. Do you remember the last few days before he left?" "I do. Poor man. He was acting very strange. Talked to himself. Spent hours in the lobby doing nothing." "What did he say?" "Things about you. Said you were too busy, that he couldn't talk to you. Once he came down in the middle of the night and stayed here until dawn." "Why?" "He said he didn't want to bother you, that he saw the light on in the bedroom and knew you were working. Didn't want to go up and disturb you." Jennifer remembered those nights. She'd stay up late on her laptop, handling clients in different time zones. She never imagined Robert was awake, avoiding disturbing her. "Do you remember the last day you saw him?" "I remember perfectly. He came down with a small suitcase, very agitated, said he was going to fix some problems and would be back soon. But he was crying." "Crying?" "Yes. I asked if he was okay, and he said he was doing the right thing, that you deserved someone better." Jennifer left with a shattered heart. Robert had walked out thinking he was doing her a favor by disappearing. The next day, she found Robert more restless than usual. "Jennifer, I'm so glad you're here. I had another strange dream." "Tell me." "I dreamed my wife was in an important meeting, and I tried to talk to her, but she couldn't hear me. There was a glass wall between us." "How did you feel in the dream?" "Alone. So alone. Like she was inches away, but still so far." Robert held his head in his hands. "These dreams are getting more frequent, and they're always about loneliness, about distance." "Robert, can I ask you something delicate?" "Of course. What if these aren't dreams? What if they're memories?" He looked at her, frightened. "Memories? But that would mean that your wife really was distant lately." Robert began to tremble. "No, it can't be. She loves me. She always has." "Loving someone and being present are two different things, Robert." "No," he shouted, standing abruptly. "You don't understand. Jennifer is perfect. She would never neglect me." "Robert, calm down. You're trying to put bad thoughts in my head. Jennifer would never ever make me feel alone. He ran off, as he always did when he felt threatened. Jennifer realized she had gone too far. Robert's mind was protecting him from painful truths. Forcing those memories could make his condition worse. She stayed away from Liberty Square for 3 days, giving him time to calm down. When she returned, she found him thinner and more worn out. "Robert, are you okay? Jennifer, you came back. I missed you." "I missed you too. I'm sorry for pushing that subject. It's okay, it's just sometimes I'm scared that the dreams are real." "What are you afraid of?" "That I was a bad husband. In the dreams, I see my wife always busy, always tired, and me, trying to get her attention like a child." Jennifer felt a lump in her throat. "Robert, even if that were true, it wouldn't make you a bad husband. Sometimes people lose their way, but the love is still there." "You think so?" "I'm sure of it. And I bet your wife regrets being so busy too. Do you think she'd forgive me? For what? What did you do that was so bad?" Robert was silent for a long time. "In the dreams, I ruin everything. I make the wrong choices trying to help. I get into debt, lose money, destroy important things. And why did you do that in the dreams?" "To impress her. To prove I deserved her." Jennifer needed all her strength not to reveal who she was in that moment. "Robert, can I tell you a secret?" "Of course." "I think your wife loves you exactly as you are. And I bet she'd give anything to have you back, even if you made mistakes." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I'm a woman, and I know true love when I see it." That night, Jennifer made a decision that would change everything. She called her lawyer. "Mr. Harris, I need some documents prepared." "What can I do for you, Jennifer?" "I want to transfer all my shares in the company to my husband." "Jennifer, are you sure? This is worth millions of dollars." "Absolutely sure. Richard sacrificed everything for this company. It's time for it to be his." "But he's been missing for 2 years. Legally, you could—" "He's not missing. I found him, and I'm bringing him home." Jennifer spent the next few days organizing everything. She paid off all the debts Robert had taken on, using her own savings. She rehired employees who had been let go. She restructured the entire company. When the papers were ready, she returned to Liberty Square with a different plan. "Robert, can I ask you a favor?" "Of course, Jennifer." "Will you come with me somewhere? It's important." "Where?" "Trust me. It might help you understand the dreams." Robert hesitated, but finally agreed. Jennifer took him to the small restaurant where they had met 15 years earlier, the same place where they'd had their first date. "Why did you bring me here?" Robert asked, looking around. "Doesn't this place remind you of anything?" He fell silent, studying every detail. Suddenly his hands began to tremble. I've been here before." "Are you sure?" "Yes. With her. With Jennifer. This is where—" Robert pressed his hands to his head, as if fighting off pain. "This is where I asked her to be my girlfriend," he whispered. "Go on." "I was so nervous. She was so beautiful, so smart. I didn't understand what she saw in a guy like me." "And what did she say?" That she loved me. That it didn't matter if I was poor, if I didn't have a college degree. She said what mattered was my heart." Tears began streaming down Robert's face. "But then everything changed. She became important, powerful, and I stayed just me." "Robert, look at me," Jennifer said, taking his hands. He looked into her eyes, and for the first time, she saw a flicker of recognition. "Your eyes, they're just like hers." "Robert, I need to tell you something, but I want you to promise you'll listen to me until the end." "What is it?" "It's me, Robert. I'm your Jennifer." Robert pulled back sharply. "No, that's impossible. Jennifer wouldn't have abandoned me." "I didn't abandon you. I searched for you for 2 years." "Lies. Jennifer is different. She what, Robert? She always smiled? Always had time? Always made you feel important?" "Yes." "Then forgive me, because I wasn't that person these past few years. I lost myself in work and forgot what truly mattered. Robert began hyperventilating. No, you're not her. Robert, look at this photo, said Jennifer, holding up the faded picture he always carried. Now look at me. It's the same person, just older and sadder. Robert looked from the photo to Jennifer several times. Slowly, recognition began to dawn in his eyes. Jennifer, he whispered. Yes, my love, it's me. But you're different. I know, and I regret every day that I became someone you didn't recognize. Robert broke down in tears. I ruined everything, Jennifer. I lost your money, destroyed the company. No, my love, you saved the company. And I found out everything you did for me. No, I failed you. Robert, look at me. You sold everything you had to protect my family, took on debts that weren't yours, sacrificed your mental health for me. How is that failing? But you worked so much. Never had time for me. I thought you didn't love me anymore. And that's why I need your forgiveness, because you were right. I lost myself in work and forgot to show you how much I love you. Robert looked at her in confusion. You still love me? More than anything in the world. And I'll spend the rest of my days proving it to you. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. The following days were filled with intensive care. Jennifer took Robert home, but he was still confused and fragile. There were moments when he recognized her perfectly, and others when he looked at her like a stranger. Dr. Sarah Johnson monitored his case closely. This fluctuation is normal, she explained. His mind is reorganizing memories. It's a slow and painful process. Jennifer cancelled all her work commitments and devoted herself entirely to Robert. She cooked his favorite meals, played the songs they used to listen to, and told stories from their early years of marriage. Do you remember when we went to that beach in Key West? She asked, showing old photos. Faintly. You were so happy that day. And you caught that tiny fish and were as proud as if you'd caught a shark. Robert smiled shyly. You laughed at me so much that day. I laughed because I was happy. Happy to be there with you. No phone, no meetings, just the two of us. Why did we stop doing that? Because I became a work-obsessed fool, but we'll do it again, I promise. One morning, Robert woke up more confused than usual. Who are you? He asked, looking at Jennifer fearfully. I'm your wife, Robert. Jennifer. No, Jennifer isn't like this. Jennifer is always at the office. You're here with me. Jennifer realized his mind was distinguishing between the old Jennifer and the person caring for him now. Robert, people change. I changed because I realized I was wrong. Where's my real Jennifer? I am your real Jennifer, just a better version. Prove it. Jennifer thought of something only the two of them knew. On our honeymoon, you got sick on the second day. You had a high fever and were delirious. You used to call me the princess of my dreams. It was embarrassing, but at the same time it was the sweetest thing anyone ever said to me. Robert looked at her in shock. How do you know that? Because I was there taking care of you, just like I am now. You're really her. I am, and I'll never leave you alone again. That same day, Jennifer got an unexpected call. It was Mr. Wilson, the accountant. Jennifer, your father wants an urgent meeting. He found out you transferred the company shares to Robert. So what? He's furious. He wants to challenge the decision in court. Let him try. Robert is my husband, and he has every right to those shares. There's more. Your father found out where you're living. He said he's coming to take Robert away for treatment. Jennifer felt a surge of anger. He won't lay a finger on my husband. Jennifer, he has resources. He could get a medical order. Then I'll act first. Jennifer immediately called Dr. Sarah Johnson. Doctor, I need a full medical report on Robert's condition. My father is trying to have him committed against his will. I can do the evaluation, but I have to be honest, Robert is still in recovery. A judge might rule he's not fit to make major decisions. Then what do I do? Continue treatment at home. With time, he'll regain full clarity. But it could take months. That afternoon, Jennifer was making lunch when she heard raised voices in the living room. She rushed in and found her father arguing with Robert. "Dad, what are you doing here?" "I came for Robert. He needs professional help." "He's getting professional help at home where he feels safe. Jennifer, be reasonable. This man can't manage millions of dollars. You handed the company to someone who doesn't even remember his own name." Robert, who had hidden behind Jennifer when he saw her father, whispered, "I know this man. He hurt me." "What do you mean he hurt you?" Jennifer asked. "In my dreams. He's always there when things go wrong. He makes me do things I don't want to do." Richard Parker, Jennifer's father, lost his patience. "Enough of this act. Robert, you're coming with me now, whether you like it or not." "No," Robert cried, clinging to Jennifer. "Please, don't let him take me." "No one's taking you anywhere," Jennifer said, holding her husband tight. "Jennifer, I'm your father. You owe me obedience and respect. You lost my respect when you destroyed my husband's life. I tested him and he failed." "He didn't fail. You failed as a father and as a father-in-law." At that moment, Robert pulled away from Jennifer and looked straight at her father. "I remember you," he said firmly. "You told me if I truly loved Jennifer, I'd save the company. You said it was my chance to prove I deserved her." "Robert, you're remembering?" Jennifer asked. "I remember everything now. This man manipulated me, made me believe I had to prove myself worthy of my own wife's love." Robert turned to Jennifer. "And you were always so busy, I really believed I didn't matter to you. So when your father offered me a way to earn your love, I took it." "Robert, you always mattered to me. I was the one who was blind." "Enough of this nonsense," her father interrupted. "Robert, you're coming with me now or I'll call security." "You won't call anyone," said a voice at the door. Everyone turned to see Mrs. Patricia, Robert's mother, flanked by two men in suits. "Mom," Robert whispered. "My son, Jennifer told me everything. I came to take you home." "Patricia, stay out of this," Jennifer's father said. "Stay out of it? This man destroyed my son," the 72-year-old woman shouted. "And these are my lawyers. We've already filed a lawsuit against you for emotional damages." "For emotional damages? That's ridiculous." "Emotional manipulation, psychological coercion, abandonment of a vulnerable person," listed one of the lawyers. "We have enough evidence for a criminal case." Richard Parker turned pale. "You can't do this." "We already have," said Mrs. Patricia, "and now you're going to leave my daughter-in-law's house before I call the police." Fernanda's father looked at his daughter one last time. "You'll regret this, Jennifer. This man is a failure who will drag you down." "Dad, the only failure here is you, as a person and in character." After he left, Richard collapsed on the couch. "Jennifer, I remembered everything. Absolutely everything. And how do you feel?" "Ashamed, guilty, stupid for believing him." "Richard, you were a victim. He took advantage of your love for me to manipulate you." "But I should have talked to you. I should have told you about the financial problems. And I should have noticed my husband was suffering. I should have stopped working for a minute to listen to you." Mrs. Patricia approached them. "Enough with the guilt. You were victims of a ruthless man. What matters is that you're together now." "You're right, Mom," said Jennifer. "Richard, what if we started over from scratch?" "What do you mean?" "What if we forgot the last 3 years and went back to who we were at the beginning? When work wasn't more important than love?" Richard smiled for the first time in a long while. "You'd give up the company for me?" "Richard, I almost lost you because of the company. I realized money can be earned again, but you're one of a kind. But you worked so hard to build all this, and I nearly lost everything that truly mattered in the process." That night, the two talked until dawn. Richard shared every detail of the months before his disappearance. Jennifer told him about the 2 years of desperate searching. "I never stopped loving you," he said. "Even when I ran away, even when my mind erased the painful memories, your face was always in my dreams. And I never stopped hoping. Something inside me knew you were alive, that I'd find you." "Jennifer, can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Do you think we can be happy like before?" "I think we can be even happier, because now we know the value of what we have." The following months were about rebuilding in every way. Richard went to therapy 3 times a week with Dr. Sarah Johnson. Jennifer drastically reduced her workload, delegating tasks and prioritizing quality of life. They returned to the simple things they used to love: walks in the park, home-cooked dinners, movies on the couch. Richard rediscovered his passion for cooking and started making meals for Jennifer every day. "Do you remember the first time you cooked for me?" she asked one evening. "I do. I burned the beans, and you pretended it was delicious." "I didn't pretend. To me, it was delicious because it was made with love." "And today, how is it?" Jennifer took a bite and smiled. "Today, it's perfect because it was made with love and practice." One day, Richard came home with an unexpected idea. "Jennifer, I've been thinking. Tell me, what if we sold the company?" "What do you mean?" "Think about it. That company has only brought us pain. What if we sold everything and started fresh with something of our own? Something small but truly ours." Jennifer grew thoughtful. "Do you have something in mind? Remember our old dream, opening a beachfront inn?" "I do. You always said you wanted to wake up every day to the ocean." "So, what if we made it real?" "Richard, are you sure? We're talking about millions of dollars." "Jennifer, these past 2 years you realized I was worth more to you than all those millions, and I learned my happiness is priceless." "When you put it that way, why not?" "Really? Absolutely. Let's sell everything and start fresh by the beach." Robert picked her up and spun her around the room. "I love you so much." "I love you too, and this time I'll show it every day." The process of selling the business took 6 months. During that time, Jennifer discovered something interesting. She was much happier working less. She had time to care for Robert, for herself, and for the relationships she'd neglected. "Jennifer," Robert said one lazy afternoon, "can I tell you a secret?" "Of course." "When I was at Liberty Square talking to your photo, sometimes I daydreamed about a different life." "How so?" "A life where you didn't have to work so much, where we could have kids, travel, grow old together without rushing." Jennifer felt her heart race. "Kids? You still want kids? With you? I want everything. Even after all we've been through. Especially after all we've been through. It showed me life is fragile. We shouldn't put off our dreams." "Robert, I'm 38. Maybe it's too late to..." "It's never too late for a fresh start, Jennifer. If we can't have biological children, we can adopt. What matters is building the family we've always dreamed of." 3 months later, they were moving to a small coastal town in the Florida Keys. They bought a house facing the ocean and began turning it into a cozy inn. "Robert, look at this view," Jennifer said from the master bedroom's balcony. "Beautiful, but not as beautiful as you. You're an incurable romantic." "Are you complaining?" "Never. I've missed this side of you so much." The inn, named Fresh Start, opened 6 months later. It was small, just 8 rooms, but every detail was thoughtfully chosen. Robert handled the kitchen, Jennifer managed the rest. "Our first guests," Jennifer announced, when an elderly couple arrived. "How exciting," Robert said. "I'll make that special lemon pie." "The same one you made for our first dating anniversary?" "The very one. Our lucky recipe." The guests were charmed by the hospitality. Robert's cooking, Jennifer's warmth, the breathtaking view. Soon the inn was always full. "Jennifer," Robert said one night as they walked on the beach, "do you regret anything? Taking so long to understand what really matters? And you? Believing I didn't deserve your love? That I had to prove myself worthy of you? Robert, you've always been worthy of my love. I was just too blind to show it. You show it now, every day. And I will for the rest of my life." A year after opening the inn, Jennifer discovered she was pregnant. Robert, come here," she called from the bathroom. "What's wrong? Are you okay?" "Look," she said, holding up the pregnancy test. Robert stared at the 2 lines and went silent. "Robert, are you okay?" "Jennifer, is this real?" "It's real, we're having a baby." Robert pulled her into his arms and began to cry. "After everything we've been through, a baby." "Our miracle," Jennifer whispered. "Our complete fresh start." The pregnancy went smoothly. Robert became even more protective but never overbearing. Jennifer kept working at the inn until her 7th month. "What should we name our baby?" Robert asked, stroking Jennifer's belly. If it's a boy, how about Ethan, an angel's name? And if it's a girl? Hope, because that's what saved us. Hope Parker Brown, beautiful. The baby was born on a sunny December morning, a healthy, perfect little girl. She has your eyes, Robert said, holding his daughter for the first time. And your smile, Jennifer replied. Hope, welcome to the world, my little princess. Mrs. Patricia arrived the next day to meet her granddaughter. She's beautiful, the grandmother exclaimed. Just like Richard when he was born. Mrs. Patricia, thank you for everything, for helping me bring Richard back. Jennifer, you're the one who brought my son back. You never gave up on him. Because true love never gives up. And now you have this beautiful family. Richard hasn't stopped smiling since he found out about the pregnancy. 5 years had passed. The Fresh Start Inn had become famous in the area, not just for its beauty, but for the love stories that unfolded there. Many struggling couples sought out the place specifically to reconnect. Mom, can I help Dad in the kitchen? Asked Hope, now 5 years old. Of course, sweetheart, but be careful around the stove. I'll watch her, said Richard, appearing in the doorway with his apron on. Daddy, I'm going to make a cake for you. For me? What an honor. Jennifer watched the scene with a full heart. Richard had become an amazing father, present in every moment of Hope's life, and she had learned to balance work and family in a healthy way. Jennifer, Richard said that night after Hope had fallen asleep, I have a surprise for you. What surprise? Do you remember today's date? Jennifer thought for a moment. Oh, it's the 6-year anniversary of the day you found me in the square. Exactly, and I've prepared something special. Richard took her to the beach, where he had set up a romantic picnic under the stars. Richard, this is beautiful. Jennifer, these past 6 years you've shown me what true love is. You didn't give up on me when I had given up on myself. Richard, let me finish. You gave up a life of luxury to rebuild our story. You gave me the family I always dreamed of, and now I want to renew our vows. Richard knelt in the sand and pulled a small box from his pocket. Jennifer Parker Brown, will you start fresh with me every day for the rest of our lives? I will, she answered, tears in her eyes. I will today and always. Richard slipped a new ring onto her finger, simple but engraved with the words, Eternal Fresh Start. Now we're officially the most in-love couple at our own inn, Richard joked, and the couple who believes most in the power of true love. Jennifer, can I confess something? Anything. Sometimes I'm still afraid this is all a dream, that I'll wake up back on that bench in the square. You know what you do when you feel that fear? What? Look at our daughter sleeping. Look at our home. Look at me smiling at you for real. This is real, Richard. This is ours. You're right. And you know what else? What? Even if it were a dream, I'd choose to dream of you forever. Good thing it's not a dream then, because we have so much more life to live together. The next morning, Richard woke before Jennifer, as he always did. He stepped onto the porch and gazed at the ocean. Hope appeared beside him, still in her pajamas. Daddy, why do you wake up early every day to look at the ocean? To give thanks, sweetheart. Thanks for what? For a second chance. For having you two. For learning that the most important thing in life isn't what we have, but who we have. Daddy, will you and Mommy always stay together? Always, princess, because true love doesn't end. Sometimes it gets lost, but it always finds its way back. How did you get lost? Mommy got too busy and Daddy got too sad, but your love was bigger than any problem. And now? Now we know family is the most precious treasure in the world. Jennifer stepped onto the porch, still sleepy. Good morning, my loves. Mommy! Hope ran to hug her. Sleep well? Richard asked, kissing Jennifer. Couldn't be better. I dreamed we were a happy family running an inn by the ocean. What a coincidence, Richard teased. I dreamed the same thing. It's not a dream, silly, Hope said. It's real life. You're right, princess, said Jennifer. This is our real life, and it's perfect. At that moment, a couple of guests appeared on the nearby porch. Good morning, they greeted. Good morning. Did you sleep well? Replied Robert. Perfectly. Do you know your story is so inspiring? Our story? Asked Jennifer. Mrs. Patricia told us yesterday. How you found each other again, how you started fresh, and it's beautiful. Thank you, said Jennifer, blushing. You two are proof that true love overcomes any obstacle. After the guests left, Robert wrapped his arms around Jennifer's waist. You know what I think is the most beautiful part of our story? What? That it might inspire others not to give up on love. Do you really think our story could help other couples? I'm sure of it. How many couples go through the same struggles we did? Too much work, poor communication, outside pressures. You're right. Maybe we should share our story. How? I don't know. A book? A blog? Or maybe just keep welcoming couples here to the inn and showing them firsthand that it's possible to start fresh. I like that idea. Hope tugged at her parents' hands. Can we have breakfast? I'm hungry. Of course, Princess, said Robert. Today's special pancake day. Daddy's secret recipe. The recipe of love, Jennifer said with a smile. As Robert prepared breakfast, Jennifer reflected on the journey that had brought them here. All the pain, all the fear, all the tears, they had been worth it. They weren't the same people they used to be. They were better, wiser, more grateful. Robert, she said, hugging him from behind as he cooked. Thank you. For what? For never stopping loving me even when I didn't deserve it. Jennifer, you always deserved it, and you always will. I love you. I love you too. Today, tomorrow, and always. Hope skipped into the kitchen. Can I set the table? Of course, sweetheart, said Jennifer. Set it for 4. 4? But there's only 3 of us. Set a place for love too, because it's always with us. Robert smiled and kissed his wife. You're getting more romantic than me. I learned from the best. And so in the simplicity of an ordinary morning, the Parker Brown family celebrated the greatest treasure they had found, a second chance to be happy together. The end. Isn't it beautiful? Robert and Jennifer showed us that true love always finds its way back. Now tell us in the comments, do you believe in second chances in love? Have you experienced something similar? Share your honest thoughts and subscribe for more heartwarming stories.